Let's quickly begin firstly from with the adjustment of the fuel pump prices made earlier this month, seeing a slight reduction that was made. What's your expectation from the next month's fuel pump price adjustment, as we're expecting the Energy Regulation Board to advise what next?
Well, just to take you through a quick analysis of what happened last month, you realize that we had a retreat in terms of pricings on the international market. That a barrel was actually costing about 103, about that much. And so definitely that implied that the trickle-down effect would go to reduce pump prices. But I think that we've witnessed in the last couple of weeks where basically there's more sanctions on Russia, and giants like BP are put out of Russia's contracts, Exxon, and so on and so forth. They have literally put out of Russia. And that has actually triggered a rise in terms of the pump price. As we speak today, yesterday was about 110, 112, somewhere there. Today it's almost about 118 US dollars per barrel. And that is definitely an indicator that you're expecting your pump prices to go up as ARB is sitting to do the review on the next month pump pricing. So obviously these are factors that will affect your pricings. I think that it's been steeply going up the last couple of weeks, couple of days. We don't know how to what extent this was going to affect generally our pump price, but definitely expecting a pump price increment.
Well, you mentioned that you're expecting an increase in terms of the fuel pump prices because of what is happening globally. Let's speak on how we know that the production and logistics manufacturing industry in the country survives on mostly, especially from their heavy machinery, on diesel, which is slightly more expensive than petrol now. How would you advise some of these businesses to survive during this period if we do see an increase in the fuel pump prices?
Well, firstly, to start with, we hope to see a very stable structure during this phase as a country. Number one, you notice that in most cases, when there is a pump price increment, the cost of commodities and cost of services shoots definitely. But you also notice that during the time we do experience slight adjustments downwards in terms of the pump prices, you notice that there is literally very little adjustment on the cost of essential goods and services. What we hope to see in the next few months to come is that government would create a lineage between the Ministry of Energy vis-a-vis Ministry of Commerce and Trade, so that when we do expect, these two ministries must be able to speak to each other, so that when we do have an increment in terms of prices, yes, the cost of food and essential commodity foods and services would shoot, but also that the benefits could be also accrued when we do have a reduction almost instantaneously. So we expect that government comes up with a formula that allows adjustments of these goods and services as and when the price of fuel being affected, positive or negative. So obviously for the business people, we still want to urge them to say, look, times are slightly hard, unfortunately, but I think that it will be very good to review our budgets and see how best there's a provision of some sort of cushion in terms of business expenses. Of course, it's going to be very hard. Services is going to be high. Just running a company is going to be very difficult because much of your cost is going to go towards the running costs, and this particularly will affect largely your incomes against your outcomes, and I think that is what is expected. We hope to see that also government responds to sentiments by IMF to see if they could provide a subsidy on energy and food food, so that at least there could be that cushion that would largely impact the economy of the country.
Well, let's also talk about the oil marketing companies here. Obviously, if they are affected if there is either an increase or a decrease. But with your prediction, would you say that if there is an increase in the fuel pump prices, this could be advantageous to the oil marketing companies?
Certainly not, because what happens is that when your cost of product goes up, it means that you need more capital injection to buy product, and so you find that your competitors, or you have very few OMCs that will manage to buy or source for this product. But of course, you need to realize that most of the measures in this case are ones that will make you survive on the market, because they will have a secured product in advance and ensuring that there is that pool. So obviously, from their reserves, they will be able to make some good profits, definitely, because they'll buy in bulk and budget for the next 6 months, but then they'll be able to respond to price changes as they happen. So you expect that the majors will make a bit more profit, but then the miners that were small OMCs will have a bit of a challenge, because you need more resources to be able to import product, and basically the prices will have shot up. It means that you have to work towards, if you're getting 5 trucks, you have to reduce them to 3 trucks, and so on and so forth. So it brings in a different dynamics in terms of competition. But of course, you will have sustainability on the market.